take 2 of this video that I just spent 20 minutes recording. Hello guys, my name is Eli, I am 15 years old, and I identify as a trans guy, which means that I was born female, but I identify as male. I have recently come out publicly, and a lot of family and friends have a lot of questions. So I wanted to make this video to hopefully clear up some confusion or answer some questions that a lot of people may be having. I'll get started. So the first question is, how do you know if you're trans? Some people say it's a disease, some people say it's wired in the brain. What do you think about that? How I knew that I was trans was, a lot of people say it's like an aha moment. Mine was like a bunch of little aha moments that happened over the past few years. Being little, I always wanted to be a guy, but didn't tell anybody because I thought it was shameful, or I didn't really understand what it meant. So I kept it to myself and I didn't say anything. I should have told someone, but I didn't. And when I got older, I would be constantly crying about my body, and not because I was like, oh, I'm too fat, or I'm not skinny enough, or I don't like the way this looks about me. It was because I don't have the body of a boy. Being transgender is not a disease, but it is definitely something that's wired in your brain. It's something that you always have, but you recognize slowly over time. Some people don't recognize it till they're in their 60s. Some people recognize it as soon as they can start talking. Some people recognize it when they're my age. And all of those are okay. Something I want to also add in before I get deep into this video. Your birth sex and your gender are different. Now that I'm looking back and editing this, I'm realizing that I sounded really sarcastic, and that's not what I was intending. Okay, thanks. Continue. Your birth sex is your genitalia. It's your XX chromosomes, your XY chromosomes. That's your birth sex. Your gender is in your brain. It's what your brain identifies you as. So in my case, I was born with female body, female chromosomes, female genitalia, and all that stuff. My brain identifies me as male. So these two do not align. For most people, they do align. For most people, it's like male genitalia, male gender. I'm a boy. I'm happy with that. It's fine. Or vice versa for female. For me and for other people, that's not how it is, which makes life a lot harder. How do you feel when people don't call you what you want to be called? I feel like crap. I want to make this video serious and real so you understand that I'm not making things up or that I'm being sarcastic. I'm being real. It feels like my whole world's crashing down around me. I feel sick to my stomach. My heart sinks. And I feel like I want to start crying. If you're cisgender, which means that your birth sex aligns with your gender, you don't think about that. It's a really big thing for transgender people to not call them what they should be called. What is the correct way to respond to someone when they come out, but you're an ally, but you don't want to be like that stereotypical like straight person that's like super over the top and borderline makes the person uncomfortable? The correct way to respond is to say, I will support you, and I will call you by your name and pronouns that you want to be called. If someone comes out as trans, say that. If somebody comes out as something else, just say, I support you, and that's it. What is the biggest struggle with being transgender? The biggest struggle for me right now is bathrooms. Bathrooms are awful, and I don't use them hardly ever in public because I look physically like a girl. So I cannot use the men's bathroom, which makes me feel like crap. But when I go into the women's bathroom, I get weird looks. So I hardly ever go to the bathroom in public, which is not good. And that's what a lot of trans people do, which is still not good. How old were you when you realized that you were LGBT+? I realized when I was little. There was something off, and every kid feels like there's something different about them. For me, it was these two, my outside and my inside did not match, and it felt weird. When I was in like 6th grade, I knew I wasn't like straight. When I was in 7th grade, I started to really question my gender identity, even more. When I was in 8th grade, I knew I was not a girl. I was like, nope, nope. What is something you wish everyone understood about being trans? It's hard, and I just want to be treated like every other person. I just want people to be like, okay, you're a guy. Cool. I want to be treated as equal. I don't want people to give me like special attention or something because I'm trans. Like, I just want to be treated equally to everyone else. And that doesn't always happen. And that makes me sad or uncomfortable. Do you experience dysphoria? How is it? I do experience dysphoria, and it is awful. Dysphoria is the sadness or discomfort you experience if your birth sex does not align with your gender identity. It basically means sadness for when you're transgender. I experience not only body dysphoria, but social dysphoria. And body dysphoria is, my body is a girl's body, my voice is high-pitched, and people won't see me as a guy. That's what that means. And then I get really, really sad, and I cry a lot, and that happens. Social dysphoria is when I'm out in public, and people see me as a girl, and I get self-conscious, and I want to, like, shrivel up and die. That's what that is. I experienced that. If that doesn't tell you how it is, it's awful. I haven't been, like, medically diagnosed with it because I haven't gone into any gender clinics yet because lists are long and I'm on the wait list. It's hard. I wanted to do a little update while I'm editing. I just got into the gender clinic a couple days ago. If you want an idea of how long the wait lists actually are, I think I got in fairly quickly, and I've been on the list since May, and it's July now, and my appointment's in September. So, they're pretty long lists. Continue watching. Was it difficult to tell your family? It was difficult. I did not bring up the topic. My mom did. My mom brought up the topic one day. She sat me down. She was like, why do you always wear boys' clothes? And why do you flatten your chest? And then she said, you're not trans. And I just broke down crying. And she's been really the strongest person in my transition. I personally did not tell the rest of my family. I told my sister before anyone. I didn't tell any of my other family directly. My mom told mostly everyone. Did you grow up in a religious household, or was religion something you figured out? I did grow up in a religious household, and I am Catholic, and I like being Catholic. However, the church is very stigmatizing of LGBT plus people. So that has made growing up very hard for me, and has made me, at points in my life, distant from the church, has made me uncomfortable with the church. I'm going to answer one more question, and then I will have a couple fun facts to throw in the video. As a cisgender person, how can I be a better ally? I really like this question because not a lot of people ask it, but it is something that you should really ask. As a cis person, if your family, friends, people from church, people from school watching this, a way you can be a better ally is to respect the person's pronouns and the person's name. Something that I've heard recently, you go up to pet a dog and you say, oh, she's so cute, what's her name? And the person says, oh, it's a boy. And you go, oh my god, I'm so sorry. You can do that about a dog, but you can't do that about a human. And that really hit hard because it's so true. You have to respect the person's name, you have to respect the person's pronouns, and you can't just like ignore it. A lot of people say like, oh, you gotta give me time to get used to it, like you have to give me the time to get used to it. Like, alright, fine, you get time, but that doesn't mean you can just not try. Like if someone might ask, oh, when's the right time to start using someone's name or pronouns that they want to be called? As soon as they tell you. Like if I told someone my name is Eli and my pronouns are he, him, and his, that means I want everyone to try and remember that. And I get, if you mess up, that's normal. People do that. You're human. But it feels like crap if you don't try and if you forget. Like, yeah, I get that. If you correct yourself, that's amazing. If you correct yourself, that gives so much relief to a trans person. So always do that. Another thing you can do, just treat them all the same. You're all humans. Make them feel like they're in a supportive environment. Don't be over the top. Just treat them like normal people. Because trans people are normal people. Fun facts. Actually, these facts aren't very fun. They're kind of sad. In 1980, people that were transgender, gender nonconforming, were diagnosed with gender identity disorder, which is awful because that labeled transgender people as mentally disturbed, and they are not mentally disturbed. And that did not change to gender dysphoria until 2013. So that's kind of awful. And also in 2015, it was recorded that the suicide attempt rate for transgender people is 40%, which is way too high, and I think it's gotten higher since then. So that's really sad, and it's really scary. We live in a binary society where you're born as a boy, you're a boy. You're born as a girl, you're a girl. That's how it is. And the fact is, that's not what it is. Mental gender is different from your birth sex, and that's a fact that you can't just push away. Some people don't identify as male or female, and that's a thing that's also real and scientific. If you really want to support someone, you cannot have religious bias at all. You can say like, oh, God made you this way, you should be happy. You can't say that because that's morally incorrect, and that will make someone feel awful. If you have any more questions, you can put them down in the comments, or you can send me a message on Instagram. I'm going to be doing a video with my friend, Asher, who is also a trans guy, and we can answer those questions honestly for you. If you do have any more questions, just let me know. I think that's it. Okay, bye guys!